This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Time to talk with Dudley Dawson from Pig Trail Nation, Hogville.net. And we appreciate you hopping on today. Dudley, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. Late night at Bogle last night, but back at it today.
Were you there for the whole thing? I was. I fell asleep before the start of the seventh inning. When I woke up, I had no clue what happened until I read about it this morning. So, but you were there. It must have brought back memories of the 2017 regional when you're there past. Of course, you weren't there to 3 in the morning, but it must have brought back some memories.
True that. It's certainly a great softball game, great competition, and two pitchers that really know how to fling it. And I know that the Arkansas fans are upset, but that was a great experience for them in terms of just generating more interest about softball, because there's plenty of interest already around here with what Coach Dawson and her team have done.
Well, the crowd was amazing last night. You could see that on TV, and I mean that stands out about any Arkansas event, I think. So that's really been standing out for the last 3 or 4 years. How does Courtney Deifel's team look in your mind with whether or not they'll host top 16, top 8 probably not, but as far as top 16, they're in pretty good shape?
Yeah, I think so. Their strength of schedule and what they've done during the season, I think, especially playing in such a tough league as the SEC, and we say that just about every sport, in guarding the SEC, and goodness gracious, Oklahoma and Texas adding in next year. That's 2 of your top 8 teams in the country right now. But Coach Deifel and I think most experts think that we'll get to host a regional. You're right that top 8 national seed won't be the case, but I know a team that plays on a diamond as well, but didn't need the national seed last year, but probably going to get one this year. And it's all about getting hot at the right time. And I feel sorry for Alabama. Montana Faust is such a great pitcher for them. She got hurt there late last night. You hope she's okay, because they've got a chance to make a run deep in there, just like several SEC teams do.
Yeah, she's amazing. What was the injury? And is there any prognosis on her situation?
They were very quiet about it last night, but it seems to be a leg injury. She's a fantastic pitcher, and I think she had thrown 120 pitches before she got injured. Shanice threw 169 last night. These are two young ladies who just a couple months ago threw 170 and 169 in a matchup. Just incredible. Yeah, and I don't want to hear about a lefty specialist. Do you? These days in baseball and all that. But just a fantastic couple of pitchers, and I know they're going to be able to. Both teams are going to be able to, have I think a really good postseason. But as we saw last night, it only takes one little thing for you to be able to move on in these advance and survive situations.
Speaking of advance and survive, your Celtics, man, they survived one more game. They get to play a Game 7 on Sunday at the Nuggets. They disposed of the Suns. But what are your thoughts? Did you get to watch any of that Celtics game? And
I was in.
Go ahead.
I was in the press box. At Bogle, and intentionally did not watch it. I was keeping up with it on my phone, but I knew that if I watched the ball game, I would totally forget about what was going on in front of me, and I'm paid to do that. So. I decided to do that. Came home and watched the fourth quarter last night. Was very, very happy with how the fourth quarter went. I was really afraid that after a great season, when I was looking at the stats and Tatum was 1 of 14, that he was going to have to wear this all summer. And thankfully, he did not. That
fourth quarter was fun, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of confidence you got to have as a superstar, when you can hit the broadside of a barn and in the fourth quarter when your team needs him. It sounds like, from everything I've read this morning, his teammates were imploring him to still go ahead and shoot the ball. So it was a lot of fun. I'll watch the entire thing today before I end up coming out to Baum Walker. But I like Game 7s in Boston. I've watched a few of those over 60 years, and maybe we can pull it out. If not, then my son Brooks, who's become a Philadelphia 76ers fan because he married into a Philadelphia 76ers family, will have bragging rights. But I got on him a little bit last night. So.
Does your son root for the Eagles and the Cubs too, Dudley? Is he going to pick teams?
Not the Cubs. He's Phillies. He's working into that. And when he called me to tell me that he had decided to switch his sports allegiance, I explained to him how that's not really a thing you do. I do get how once you're newly married that you work things out. So I'm going to give him a couple of years to get settled into that marriage, and then his butt better get back to normal sports watching and happiness.
I don't know, Dudley. I think it's a good thing for you, maybe lucky for you, that he didn't marry into a Texas Longhorns family. You'd have to quit your job and move somewhere, man. I just don't think it would work well for you.
Well, Clay Henry would be the one. That would be a problem. I could get past it, because I do have obviously a Dallas Cowboys affinity. But yes, that would have been Orange, and being from Newport, being a Newport Greyhound in Orange, that Orange is not as bad as it is to me to some things. But then again, I've gotten older and more mature along the way here too about that. Maybe when I was young, that wouldn't have been an option.
Orange is one of your colors in Newport?
Oh, absolutely, orange and black.
So is Mackay, is he staying at Hog? What's all the latest on the portal news?
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? That they put up a social media post, and then it came back down, and then it went back up, and it makes me wonder if somebody over there on the social media team didn't jump the boat a little bit. Now, here's what I would say: it appears that he's coming back. He's down there working out with Devo Davis, in Little Rock and stuff, and it appears both those guys are coming back, but. With the portal and the way that Arkansas has used it, you never say anything for sure because you still got I think we talked about this a week ago. Ron Holland's still out there. Several others that are still out there. I do think it's a coaching malpractice if you don't try to recruit what you have here. But at the same time, it's sad for some of these kids that are kind of waiting in NBA fashion now to see if they get waived.
Is there legit a possibility that you could end up getting Ron Holland and getting maybe like Grant Nelson from North Dakota State, and then somebody says to Mackay, "Hey, sorry, we don't have a scholarship for you." You decided not to go into the portal.
And to that point, I think, where do you draw the line at, hey, we have good locker room guys. We have guys that know the system instead of just a total overhaul. I've always said this, when you're a freshman, you're looking up to the upperclassmen. And so I know it's different now where it's a lot of sophomore, juniors, and guys that have played, but it's good to have somebody who's familiar with Coach Muss and who does it the right way, because I think both those brothers, they did things the right way.
Yeah, for the most part, I think there were some struggles there along the way early on. I think maybe they grew up a little bit this year. And obviously one of them's not going to be here next year, and we'll see if the other one is. But I do think that it has taken a lot to get used to in this day's sports situations. I used to have to just go through the SID to talk to an athlete. Now these days I have to go through the SID. I have to go through the agent/lawyer. So it's a different, thing here. And then for the kids, scholarships for the most part, and I will say, having been a manager for Coach Sutton and Coach Richardson, there were a few guys that were waived over the years, but it certainly wasn't in the process that it has been these days. The NIL, the portal, has totally changed everything, and feelings get hurt every day. It's a fine balance between growing that locker room, creating a culture, and not getting fired. You know how quickly people get fired these days after one bad season and all that, which, by the way, I hope Coach Anderson just takes St. John's to the freaking bank.
That's just it don't even seem, if you know Coach Anderson, we talked a little bit about that yesterday, it just doesn't even seem right. It just is the type of guy he is, the type of character. Everywhere he's been, you haven't heard rumblings everywhere he goes. He does things the right way. Yeah, this is character assassination, and that's why there's $34 million punitive damages on the line. And the money's, this may not be accurate to say, but the money is so peripheral to me. His reputation as a man, not as a coach, but as a man, has been sterling over the years. He helped me
so much when my late wife was going through cancer, and him and his wife, I don't care whether you don't like him as a coach. I don't care whether you think he's a great coach or average coach, but he's a great human being. And this, to me, I hate to sound like the Civil War still going, but it's somebody from the South. This sounds so New York to me.
But I was
they went and got a New York guy.
But this reminds me of Kansas football. This reminds me of Jeff Long firing David Beatty, going and before the ink was dry, before the pen was ever on the paper to fire him, they were ready to hire Les Miles.
I already had that in place.
And there was character assassination that went along with David Beatty's firing, too. The difference here is it didn't work with Les Miles in Kansas. It is going to work with Rick Pitino in New York.
He's already signed the number one player out of the Ivy League.
They're going to win games there, Dudley. They just will.
Yeah,
Kansas
Jordan Daniel, who that's a great pickup for him.
Yep.
I don't know how far they're going to go, but he is a great coach. Certainly, like us all, he's had some missteps over the years, but in the few dealings that I've had with him along my sports career, he's always been an upstanding guy professionally. Now, personally, I think we can read some things, and I do think I think Coach Anderson is a better man. Let's just do that.
Dudley, this baseball series this week, when you watch the press conferences with Dave Van Horn and Mark Kingston, it feels like they're NFL coaches listing who's questionable, who's probable, who's out for the week. It felt really, these press conferences reminded me of a week of getting ready for the NFL, because that's the length of the injury list of both of these teams.
Yeah, and you talk about the pitching staffs that they thought they would have at the start of the year. They don't resemble what they've had to go through with most of the season. They're starting a guy, South Carolina starting a guy this weekend that's only had 4 starts all year. That's not what you want on the road, especially in a venue such as Palm Walker. Arkansas has effectively embraced the Tampa Bay, and they're still the Devil Rays. Tampa Bay Devil Rays opener with Brady Tigers, and Will McIntyre has done a good job in piggybacking. On the back end, Hunter Holland, I think, once he gets fully healthy, will be real good in that third day starting role. I think Hagen Smith, even though he's had a really good year in an odd role, I think he's about to take off and be the ace that we thought he would be for the entire season here in the postseason.
Dudley, thank you for coming on today. You might need a nap before the game tonight. I don't know. I think you're probably up until 2, but I appreciate you, and we'll look forward to seeing you at Palm Walker tonight.
BetOnline.ag is your #1 source for all your basketball info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest player reports for this year's pro basketball playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. Basketball, MLB, NHL hockey, right down to UFC and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games you can play right from your home. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BLEAV. BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.